Good afternoon, everybody. Wow, that mic is hot. My name is Sam Grace. I'm the Director of Music Ministry here at St. Philip the Deacon. And I just want to welcome you all to our summer organ series. I'd love to take credit for it, but I want to give special credit to my colleague, Kraig Windschitl, who has recently moved on to Holy Name of Jesus. We could give him a round of applause. Just a note that we have added a fifth date to our series. We typically do 4, but on August 7th, our new organist, Celina Kobetitsch, will be playing, so I encourage you to add that to your calendar as well. And now, without further ado, a man who needs little introduction for his contribution in the field of music, but I'll introduce him anyway. Entering his 56th year as organist and choir master at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis, and 56th year as artistic director of vocal lessons, the one and only Philip Brunelle.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. When Kraig asked me a year ago about doing this, I said, oh, that's right after the 4th of July. I think I should do an all-American program. And so that's what you're going to hear today, except the last number is French because next Sunday is Bastille Day. So I needed to make sure that that got included as well. So I'm going to start off with a setting by Andre Thomas. Andre Thomas is a wonderful African-American composer, conductor, lives down in Georgia now, and he did this setting of the spiritual Walk Together, Children, Don't You Get Weary, There's a Great Camp Meeting in the Promised Land. And the good thing is that on this wonderful organ, I needed to have tremolo, you know, woo, 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 that kind of thing. So there's tremolo available, and you need it with this piece. So because it's an all-American program, and because you're all here, there has to be some singing as well. And you know, at Plymouth Church, where I have now, as I was mentioned, starting year 56, when I started there, I remember the first Sunday we sang a hymn, and I did a little improvisation on the hymn. And after the service, an older parishioner came up to me and said, Mr. Brunelle, we're very happy to have you, but what is that stuff you're doing before we sing the hymn? And I said, that's called an improvisation. And I thought, this is a teaching moment. So I talked about how the history of improvisation and how people have been doing this for centuries. I said, it goes all the way back to Johann Sebastian Bach. And this woman looked at me and said, Bach wasn't a member of Plymouth Church. I went, okay then, right. And on we go. So today, I've chosen several wonderful improvisations that have been composed, and definitely want you to sing. The first one is the hymn that you have right there, number 833. And what I'd prefer to do is we'll sing the first verse, then I'll play Paul Montz's wonderful setting of that, and then let's sing the fifth verse. So we'll do 2 verses of Oh That I Had 1,000 Voices. sing wonderfully. Thank you. Sometimes if people aren't really singing, then I have to remind them that they are inside but need to use their outdoor voice. But you're doing it. So we're going to do one more, and this is a sweet little piece by Emmylou Deemer, American composer, and she did the setting of that old 19th century hymn, Jesus Calls Us O'er the Tumult. So if you would make sure to turn to number 696 in your hymnal, and we'll do the first verse of that, and then after that I will play Emmylou Deemer's setting. Adolphus Hailstork, African-American composer living in Virginia, that would be the state of Virginia, not Virginia, Minnesota. Anyway, he has taken the hymn, We Shall Overcome. One of the things that you find about people making improvisations on them, sometimes, like the one of Emmylou Deemer, the hymn is very much in the same tempo as the way you sing it. with this one, what Adolphus has done is to stretch the melody out so that when you finally hear it, instead of being we shall over that tempo, it'll be like we shall, it comes. And what he wanted to do was to write a improvisation that if Bach had known we shall overcome, this is probably how he would have said it. So our next piece is by Dominic Argento. Dominic passed away a few years ago. He taught at the University of Minnesota for many years. He also was the only Minnesotan to win the Pulitzer Prize in music. And he was my teacher at the U, a dear friend. And he wrote, music for many operas which I conducted, and orchestral pieces that he wrote for Minnesota Orchestra. He also wrote for St. Paul Chamber Orchestra. And he did this piece for me. And when I decided to play it, I said to Kraig, this is perfectly fine. However, he did not understand the organ. And so therefore, he was thinking of it like an orchestral piece with lots of little changes happening. So I said, Kraig, you'll be here to do the changes. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful piece. It's based on the hymn that we're going to sing, a verse of, number 361. And he takes little themes of the melody. So you might hear, the little dee-da-dee-doo-doo-doo-dee-da-dee-dee. Hear that for a little bit. Takes little parts. And basically, his idea was to compose a piece that begins very quietly, like Easter morning, very early, and gradually, as the resurrection happens, it gathers in full. I think he was thinking of it for a full symphony orchestra, because the very beginning he just starts 3 little notes, and then decides to do a big pedal cadenza. And, you know, it's a nice idea. And so we'll do that. And then it just kind of gradually, it's about an 8-minute piece, so it just kind of gradually gets stronger and stronger until it comes, and finally at the end, the triumphant ending. So first we'll sing the hymn. So there's 2 ways that you can do it. At Plymouth, we have the buttons that are under here, the pistons. But on newer organs, which Plymouth's is not, you can also preset with things. And this organ has that. I don't have it. So when we push the wrong ones, suddenly, you just heard. You think we've got it now? Ah, that's it.
No, we're not.
Yes. We'll start one more time. Virgil Thompson was an American composer who did his formal study years in Paris, studying with Nadia Boulanger, who a number of American composers went over there. Aaron Copland was the first, Ned Rorem was there, and Virgil Thompson. And he wrote, he loved to take simple little melodies. He called this one Melody on a Sunday School Song. So when you hear the melody at the beginning, so the first part of it is the familiar Shall We Gather at the River, but then it's just the harmonies that go with that until finally at the end he brings back the melody and we get the full idea of what Virgil Thompson does. A lot of it is very wacky. I think so. That would be a good word to describe. He was he was in New York for many years and was like the music critic for the New York scene for the newspapers. Amazing, I conducted several of his operas. He wrote a wonderful opera about Susan B. Anthony called The Mother of Us All, and fascinating character. This just shows one side of his life. Well, the last piece, now we move to France, and this is a piece by Messiaen, the wonderful French organist and composer. Messiaen was for many years the organist at a church, the Trinity Church in Paris. He came here once, I remember, and did a recital, he and his wife, a program at the Old Guthrie Theater for 2 pianos. And I can still remember about 10 minutes before the recital, the woman in charge came down the aisle, Carolyn and I were sitting there, and she whispered to me, "Messiaen needs a page turner." And I said, "I'll come with you." I didn't tell Carolyn what was about to happen. So then the program's about to start. She wonders what's happened. Messiaen comes out on stage, and I followed him as his page turner. And it was a fascinating experience. And then afterward, the two of us had dinner with them at a hotel. And most of the meal was about him asking, because he was very interested in birds. So he wanted to know about Minnesota birds. So I tried to show, because he had his little booklet and he was writing his stuff on, I tried to show him or demonstrate the loon call. Which when I did, Carolyn went, that's not a loon at all. But at least I knew the name in Latin, and he liked that, right? Because this was all kind of in French that we were talking. And anyway, amazing guy. So he wrote all kinds of organ pieces. And the one that I'm going to play is just one movement from his Ascension suite that he wrote. And this particular one is called Outburst of Joy from a Soul Before the Glory of Christ, which is its own glory. It's a wonderful piece, full of notes, lots of stuff, but it ends with a very strong major chord. You'll hear it.